Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Stage Property webinar for investing in property on the Gold Coast. The reason why we're focused on the Gold Coast is that it is going to be the rising star of Australia, just in relation to the market dynamics that are happening now. And we're going to be very happy to call this the inside track, where we're giving you all of the tips that you need to win first. Little bit about me. I'm the agency owner, the principal agent here at Stage Property and Development, and my clients also call me their favorite and only agent, which I quite like. I have 20 years experience in property development, marketing, finance, investment, and media, and I'm a trained, licensed real estate agent here in Australia, as well as a stock and station agent, and I'm also a licensed accredited finance broker. Not that I'm practicing because I don't have any time because I'm too busy with the property, but I can talk numbers. Okay, here is our website. It's stagepropertyanddevelopment.com. So that's our website if you want to see any other information. Before we get started, I just want to show you the disclaimer. Feel free to read this at your leisure. It's really about this webinar not being financial advice. I am going to give you all the statistics that are the most recent statistics I can in relation to you making a good decision, not financial advice, and we will be using any recording that we make in future marketing. So just wanting to let you know that. Okay, now it's barrier time. Let's get started. So, we're going to go through why the Gold Coast is the perfect and best investment right now. We're going to have a look at where we are now and what it is that we're needing to build to cater for demand. We're looking at the reasons for the strong capital growth. What are the drivers and what's actually creating this property value? And then we're going to specifically look at the beachside market, the suburbs, the population, and the growth stats. I'm then going to go through what the Stage Property and Development exclusive property showcase is. So we're going to choose a number of apartments in our favorite developments at the moment, which are Lily, Sienna. We've got a couple of off-market properties that we can go through with you. And we also love the beachside new projects. And we also have luxury property and penthouses from 18 mil to around 35 million. So we are going to let you know of some opportunities that you can secure today. So feel free to give us a call or let us know what your priorities are, and we'll be happy to match you to the best apartment or the best property for you, depending on what you're looking for. So let's get started on the Gold Coast. So in relation to the Australian landscape, Australia has an estimated 570,000 apartments that are needed over the next 3 years across the capital cities. However, we're only delivering 55,000 apartments that are actually being built each year. So we are literally less than 10% of the demand that we are actually requiring. And that was a comment by CBRE's Pacific Head of Research. So it's a very reputable gentleman who's done the research. And we're seeing that massive gap across the entirety of Australia is actually really significant. And the reason why the Gold Coast is so important is that it's attracting around 36% of the migration. So when you think about that, if we have this, 90% gap across 3 years, and we're getting 36% of the immigration to the Gold Coast region, and Southeast Queensland, then you can see that, this is the place to invest because this is where people are wanting to live. That means we don't have the supply for the demand, and that means that prices will continue to go up. So just from a numbers point of view, 550,000 new apartments are needed across Australia in the next 3 years. We're actually building 55,000. So that means we have a net loss of around 500,000 apartments that we need to build that are not actually being built to cater to demand. So that's where we have this huge demand and we don't have enough apartments actually being delivered. So that's the opportunity, and that's where our capital growth comes in. We have 17,000 new residents needing accommodation across the Gold Coast in the next year. And on average, if that was in terms of building apartment buildings, that would be around 170 apartment buildings that would be needed per year to accommodate for those new residents. And at the moment, in relation to new projects, there's 107 active apartment projects. 34 of them are currently under construction, so that's like a third. 45 have building approval, but they're not yet in construction. 8 are going through the DA process, and 8 are on revision of the DA process. So you can see that only a third are actually in construction, being completed to go to completion. So we need 170. We're actually building 34. So there is a massive gap there in relation to what's actually getting out to market. So if you hold Gold Coast apartments that are beachside, you are definitely going to benefit in this market. So here's the Gold Coast Rising Star statistics. We have seen a noticeable net migration from the Australian southern states. So that's the bottom half of Australia on the eastern seaboard side. So that's New South Wales and Victoria. It's seen as a desirable location on the Gold Coast due to the weather. We have 320 sunshine days. I mean, it's the most glorious place to live, and I can attest to that because I lived there for 9 years. It's the most glorious place to live because of the weather and the stunning beaches all along the coastline. So the Gold Coast definitely has the best beaches in the world, bar none. So definitely one of the best places to live, and I think the Gold Coast is going to definitely be on the international, spectrum of best places to live, along with Byron Bay and Noosa. We have consistent tourism and conference short stay accommodation opportunities here, with hotel occupancy surpassing what was pre-pandemic levels. So that means everybody's returning back to the Gold Coast for conferences. All the businesses and the corporates love to come to the Gold Coast because there is no other place that has such beautiful beaches, such great infrastructure, and good entertainment, as well as the great restaurants. So new dwelling approvals across Queensland. So this is Queensland as in the state of Queensland. We have around 36,500 starts per annum. It's not high enough to cater for the underlying demand by 30%. So we have a 30% gap of the actual new dwelling approvals as to what is actually required. The Gold Coast is significantly undersupplied, and that is a definite driver and a definite indicator that you should own property on the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast is currently building some 30% fewer new dwellings than are needed to meet the current and the future demand. Now that gap is only going to get wider because of the construction costs, the labor shortages, and the land values are going up too. So it really does make it more difficult for the developers to make a project feasible here in Australia. If you're coming from overseas or you're an international investor, it does make, the currency does make it a little bit more attractive in relation to project feasibility. And we'd be happy to discuss that with you if that's your situation. There is an ongoing shortage of new builds with the lifted land prices across the Gold Coast. That means fewer new detached houses are being built. So detached houses are not being built as much or as fast, and neither are attached dwellings, which are apartment buildings. We do have changing demographic needs and lifestyle wants. So since the pandemic, since COVID lockdown, everybody wants to work from home. Nobody wants to travel into the corporate city centers, 5 days a week any longer. I mean, we're seeing that as a worldwide trend. And we do have the most spectacular, beautiful beaches. We have a focus on wellness on the Gold Coast. Being healthy and fit around the seaside towns is a definite focus and a definite benefit for residents. So we're seeing that is valuable. Anything with an ocean view is valuable. So if you can get your hands on property with that ocean view in a prime location, it's a definite winner for capital growth in the future, especially, the next 3+ years. There is an increase of new project non-starts. So even projects that have been registered, as we saw, there are more projects that have been approved. 45 projects on the Gold Coast have been approved, but not yet started. And that's probably because of the construction costs. It could be due to labor. It's very hard to get a builder of a tier 1 level to commit to a project, and then you have to make the numbers work. So if you can get your hands on Gold Coast apartment property with an ocean view, you're definitely going to benefit in this market. So here are the construction figures. So here we can see this is the new dwelling supply status. The Gold Coast annual dwelling demand is 7,400. We are actually supplying 5,190. So we have a gap there of around 30%. So it is quite a significant gap. 30%, on demand supply line is quite a significant gap, and you can benefit from that. So here we have the attached dwellings, not yet started. In 2022, the annual demand was 36,924. It's basically nearly twice what they're forecasting for the Gold Coast. And the actual dwelling supply is 32%. So not yet started, 32%. So that's quite significant as well. Here we have the gap on a chart. If you're like me and you like pretty pictures, then this is going to make sense to you. We have a gap of undersupply here in 2023 of over 30%. So literally we met demand in 2021, and that was because, we were building in 2019. We were building in 2020. That was, with COVID and the extra demand. So we didn't have the supply because nothing was finishing then. We seem to have finished a number of projects in 2021, which is great. Seemed like there was an oversupply. I never really saw an oversupply. Prices didn't go down in my experience. That generally happens if there is an oversupply. Prices would remain steady, or they would, maybe vary a little. But on the Gold Coast, I did not see that. Haven't been negotiating for clients. It's really, if the developers have the properties that the clients want, then the clients are happy to pay for it because they know it's only going to go up in price because it is going to be a rarer commodity moving forward. So we do have that gap there. Here we have the new housing supply, and when we have a look at the attached dwelling share of the new housing supply, we have 78% of the new housing being apartments, and that's because we have so many people moving to the Gold Coast, and we do not have the land to create detached housing. So we don't have the land space, so we're going vertical. So it just means that everybody's going to be living in apartment buildings on the Gold Coast. We're going to see an increase of the apartment buildings. 78% of the new approvals are attached dwellings. The Gold Coast Tier 1 building supply. Now, on the Gold Coast, we do have two major Tier 1 builders, being Hutchinson's and Multiplex. And they are typically, at the moment, what I'm hearing is they're both completely booked out for years. So if they are negotiating on a new project right now, the costs are, they're definitely significantly higher than they were 2 years ago. Variations on site are being priced at exceptionally high rates because they don't want variations on site, simply for the fact that building costs and labor costs are so high. So here we can see that in 2021, we basically had committed to around $3 billion worth of projects and delivered close to around $2 billion. You can see how significant that rises from 2023 to 2024. So we went from around $4 billion worth of committed projects to over $7 billion worth of projects. So that's a very significant increase in project commitment. You can see here that what we're actually delivering under construction or being completed is only $3 billion worth of projects. So you can see there is this huge gap of what is being committed as to what is actually being built and what's actually being delivered. And that's because of the construction costs, the labor costs, and what's happening with the builder squeeze, with unfortunately some builders just not being able to price the projects and foresee the major construction costs going up so high. So we can see here 2024 and 2025, we have $7 billion and $8 billion to $9 billion worth of projects that have been committed. 2024, we do see that, we're around that $3 billion, construction completed projects that we anticipate. So, we do still have this major gap. That completed constructed 2025 deliveries even less. 2026 is even less. So it might be that some contracts are being discussed and negotiated now, so it might push these up a little. But when you think about how many projects that takes to make up $1 billion worth of projects, I mean, that is a significant project. We have the V&A in Broadbeach. It's $700 to $1 billion development there, and that's around 700 apartments. So, I mean, these are significant numbers of apartments, significant numbers of build contracts. So you really do need that tier one builder that's going to be able to deliver that project for you in this market. Now, what's happening in Australia and the Gold Coast? Here is what's happening because of our lifestyle change and our wealth transition in Australia. We're going to have 220,000 multi-millionaires living in Australia by 2025. This is being helped by the housing cycle, so the increase in the property values, and also generational inheritance. So a lot of people are inheriting property, inheriting a lot of wealth. That's $272 billion worth of wealth that's going to go from one generation to a younger generation. And that is going to be a lot of investment back into property and into the property market. So what else we're seeing here in Australia, which is really positive actually, is the fact that Australia is the largest wellness market in the world. It's worth $16.5 billion per annum. So Australians love to be well and fit and healthy. We have a real focus on that. And apparently everyone in the world knows this. So that's fantastic. We do have such a great lifestyle. We have such a great environment. We have the environment that suits being healthy. It suits being well in the Gold Coast. So that's really a really strong point for people to move to the Gold Coast. To Brisbane and to Sunshine Coast. So really it's those people that are wanting to focus on their health or their wellness. A global survey showed 39% of respondents voted Australia number one as the wellness holiday destination in the world. So literally people want to come to Australia if they want to get well and healthy, and they want a really, a positive, healthy holiday. So, that does contribute to having this, kind of philosophy or culture of wellness in Australia and specifically on the Gold Coast. In relation to population growth, the Australian government is saying that our current population growth is around 525,000 in 2023. So that is, 500,000 people. Immigration increased from 235,000 to 400,000 in 2023. So that was an increase of 165,000 people that were allowed to come and live as visa residents here in Australia, which is quite significant in relation to the quotas. And the Department of Home Affairs has approved 2.78 million visas since the 30th of June 2022. So in 1 year, we have approved 2.78 million visas. And that means, that's a substantial amount of people coming into Australia. Literally 10% of the population of Australia has been approved to come in 1 year. Now, in relation to the high-end luxury apartments on the Gold Coast, because this is where stage property really does come into its own, we do have a real focus on high-end luxury. But what we are finding is that $1 million mark is actually not even, it's not as high-end luxury. It's kind of like a 2-bedroom 2-bathroom, brand new apartment in a great location, beachside, is going to cost you $1 million or more. And that's being very realistic. If you can get it under $1 million, you're doing fantastic. We do have a handful of those. If you want to contact me, and I'll let you know which one so you can secure it, because that's an absolute bargain. But the top end buyers in this market are actually looking for luxury amenities and exclusive services. Concierge, you want the apps at your fingertips to be able to give you convenience, to be able to get whatever you want for your lifestyle. A lot of the buyers want lock and leave options because everybody loves traveling. We do have a lot of downsizers, so people from from the southern states are actually selling larger properties that are higher value, and they're coming up to the Gold Coast so that they have change in their pocket and they can actually go and travel around the world as well. So it's that lock and leave, which is that easy, convenient maintenance. We know it's there. We can come back whenever we want, and we know exactly, that our property is going up while we're on holidays, essentially. So who wouldn't want that? They do like a strong brand identity in a new apartment building. They love expressive architecture, so modern, elegant. We do have a number of really breakthrough property designs happening at the moment. I mean, Glass House is absolutely one of a kind. That was a $20 million penthouse that got sold in Burleigh. We have Alto with the penthouse being sold for $16.8 million. I've got a couple of other really high-end penthouses for sale if you're interested. Our luxury buyers do like very high standards of building maintenance and management. They want to know that everything is being looked after correctly. We want good capital growth potential, which is fantastic, along the beachside suburbs, and above inflation gross rental yields if it is an investment. I'm not seeing too many investors, but of the handful that I do have, they are getting that capital growth rate that is above inflation, and also the gross rental yields above inflation, especially in the short-term accommodation, or STA, which we call it in property. So what we do want is we're expecting to see a larger, higher interest from overseas residents and expats who view Australia as a bolt hold or a safe haven against future pandemics and political or social unrest. So even with the war in Eastern Europe with Russia and things like that, we see that people do really value the stability of the Australian economy. Geographically, we are based, at the southern end of the world, and it is seen as, being a bit safer in relation to that. Also, we have a strong economy here, buoyed by our resources sector. So it is a really great place for you to diversify your portfolio if you are overseas and you're wanting to make an investment in a stable economy with great capital growth and great returns. Also, there is an advantage of currency. So here we have what's happening in the world in relation to an average 100 meter squared property, what it will buy you in the best capital cities or the best cities around the world. So we have the highest value property being in Monaco, which is a 12 meter squared apartment size for $8.85 million. It seems very expensive for a very small apartment. My goodness gracious. And, like in relation to the Gold Coast, we're at a price point of $18,250 per meter squared. Or our average sale price for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment beachside would be $1.825 million, which is, on average what we are seeing. I do know that developers are forecasting that rates will go up to around $24,000 per meter squared. So we still have some time to secure property at significantly less than that, because that's what is on the inside track, that the prices will exceed, especially along beachside property here on the Gold Coast. It's just giving you the criteria here of what that table is outlining. And also here is the average days on market on the Gold Coast. We've halved our average days. Our annual growth rate is exceptionally high in 2022. You can see here it outperformed Australia, being 17% capital growth. And in 2024, 2025, we're expecting it to be between 3 and 6%. I think this is extremely, extremely conservative. I think it's going to be higher than that, simply for the fact that there is really very, very limited stock coming to market, as we saw with the number of apartment buildings actually being built, which is only 34 apartment buildings, which is definitely not enough. So in that relation, ship to the demand and the supply, it just means that the property values are going to continue to go up, and I think they're going to go up higher than what the price finder and domain are actually forecasting. So if you're international, or you're from the southern states, or if you don't know the Gold Coast very well, here's a map of where the Gold Coast is in Australia. It is located probably about 2 hours from Byron Bay. Byron Bay is the most eastern point in Australia, on the eastern coast to the Pacific Highway. So Pacific Ocean. And we're located, about midway on the eastern coastline, and these are the beachside suburbs that we have in our analysis here. So these are the suburbs that Stage Property focus on. Anything that's beachside is somewhere that we're going to recommend our clients invest and buy, and it's also the best place to live. So it just makes sense all around. Here we go. Here are the suburbs: Balinga, Broadbeach, Coolangatta, Currumbin, Main Beach, Mermaid Beach, Miami, Palm Beach, Surfers Paradise, and Tugun. So these are the main. You could also maybe possibly potentially put in their Tweed Heads, but it is over across the border to New South Wales. So just be mindful of that. That one is going up as well. In relation to the beachside market, they're the suburbs that I just mentioned. These are the ones that Stage Property is now concentrating on. The suburbs have grown by 18,040 people each year. Sorry, that was 1,840 people each year, or 35 residents per week. That's still a lot of property that you have to account for. And that's for the past 7 years. These people have been moving onto the Gold Coast. So that's why vacancy is like next to zero. 13% of the Gold Coast entire population live beachside. Nearly 50,000 people moved over the past 5 years. And 30% of these local markets being beachside are renters. So that's quite a high level of renters in these beachside markets. And 60% of the accommodation are high-rise apartments. So that's a lot higher than the inland suburbs, which tend to be detached houses. And 41% are over 50 years old, and 26, or a quarter of those people who live beachside, have a university qualification. So they do value education. They may be professionals, or career orientated, or entrepreneurs. So on the beachside market, in relation to the housing, about 5,500 dwellings were sold across the beachside every year, and about 4,800 of those are apartments. So it is the biggest market for sales across the Gold Coast. It's 87% of the sales were apartments. There's only 700 detached houses in the beachside area that actually sell every year. So they're in very limited supply and quite high demand. Sales have increased compared to longer annual averages, and not just the COVID years. And all dwelling supply remains extremely tight. So new building, development sites, economies, dwellings for sale, and local rental vacancies are all proving that it is extremely tight. So if you buy Gold Coast beachside property, you're going to do really well over the next few years, especially. Just 2 years ago, 40% of dwellings sold across the beachside suburbs attracted over 1 million. And that's, I would say, in my experience, has risen. I think I've sold one property under that $1 million mark this year. And that was to an investor. And that was for a Broadbeach apartment. So I'm not seeing the under $1 million price point purchase very often at all now. So Literally what we expect at stage property, what we're seeing is on average a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom new apartment price could increase anywhere between $50,000 $100,000 annually. That's what we're seeing historically on average for our current clients in this current market. And that's just because they tend to buy right because we choose the right locations and we choose the right developments in those locations, and we source you the best property, apartment locations that we can in those buildings. In relation to tier 1 building pipeline, this is the residential population growth and the past annual growth. So here we have the top 10 areas by location. We have Gold Coast being number 6, and we had an annual growth of 14,150, or a growth rate. That distribution of the population, is 4.6% of the growth. And then this is the beachside number of people who have moved and which suburbs in the past 5 years. What we can see here is people in Surfers Paradise have moved. That's a 58%. Mermaid Beach, 61% of that 8,280. So we are seeing that these suburbs are having quite a bit of movement. Anything over 50% is quite a lot of movement. So, and that's basically because there's been a lot of growth in those areas. Here we have the total dwellings and the number of unoccupied dwellings. So when people buy a property for a holiday let, or they buy a property for a holiday home and it's sitting there and it's vacant, this is where we're seeing a lot of Surfers Paradise apartments are just unoccupied at 30%. 30% also in Mermaid Beach, Broad Beach, 30% in Main Beach. So, you do have these areas where people tend to buy property. They know the property is going to go up and they're just sitting on the capital growth, and they're not even requiring that property to bring in any rental income because they're happy with the capital growth. It might be a holiday home, or it might be a weekend pied-à-terre. Here we have the percentage of high-rise apartments and the percentage of people that are renters beachside. So here we can see in Main Beach, high-rise apartments take up 87% of the dwellings in Main Beach, and renting is 28%. We have 44% of people renting in Surfers Paradise, and we have in Mermaid and Broad Beach 42% of renters. So if you're looking for a rental investment property, these are the areas where you'll want to be, because this is where you'll be able to get an apartment, and this is where the renters are actually living and they're happy to live there. So that's a really good graph if you're wanting to look at where the renters are living. The next slide is our beachside slide of the suburbs of beachside that have a university qualification. And we can see here everything is over 24%. So everywhere around the beachside, we have at least 1/4 of people being university qualified. So they value education. And here we have the over 50s suburbs. So 62% of Main Beach is over 50. 50% of Coolangatta is over 50. So you can kind of see they're the older demographics for those suburbs. Here we have the dwellings sold over $1 million price point. Now, I would say on average, this is definitely the bulk of the transactions that are happening on the Gold Coast now, especially in the new market. We have in 2021, it was 40% of dwellings over $1 million, and in 2023 it was 55%. So you can see in 2 years, the price that it's grown in 15% in 2 years. So there is a lot of capital growth happening in those beachside suburbs. So literally on the Gold Coast, we're seeing the Gold Coast region has increased by about 14,150 people, or by 275 new residents each week in the last 12 months alone. That's going to increase around 1,700 residents per annum for the next 20 years. So literally, if you own beachside property for the next 20 years, you will do well. The Gold Coast is currently the sixth largest urban area in Australia, and it will remain so for the next 20 years. The interstate migration is from Sydney and Melbourne. It is really just the sixth spot for the next 20 years. So it's not going to overtake Brisbane or the capital cities, but it is definitely the largest region, and it's definitely got the best beaches. So here we have the top 10 urban areas by population growth, and this is Australia. We have the Gold Coast here with an increase of annual growth 14,150. But like I just mentioned, it's going to increase to 17,000. Again, if you're like me and you like pretty diagrams, you're going to see this is the Gold Coast region here in 2023. We're at 732,000, and they're saying that's 10 years, and 20 years we're going to be over 1 million. Now, I know people who are saying that we will reach over 1 million people by 2025. So if you hold Gold Coast property, this is a major opportunity for you to pick up some capital growth just because the population is increasing. There may be, some reason why the Australian Bureau of Statistics isn't gathering the information that the people in the property industry really do know, just because we're dealing with the market and the accommodation in the market at the moment. There are statistics around saying that we will reach over that million mark by 2025. Here is a map of Australia. If you're not familiar with it, this is the population by the top 10 suburbs that we just went through. This is the Gold Coast here. We have Brisbane an hour north, and an hour north of that we have the Sunshine Coast. So these three regions really make up Southeast Queensland. So if you buy in Southeast Queensland, you really will do well. We focus mainly on the Gold Coast because we know the market intimately, and we're across all of the projects, and we definitely recommend buying on the Gold Coast. Again, here is the population areas and how much they're growing by. Again, great for you to know. This is for 2022. Figures are increasing 2023 and onwards. What we have now is my favorite part of our webinar, and this is where we showcase our exclusive property opportunities. I've chosen around 4 or 5 apartments that I think would be fantastic buys for you if you're an owner-occupier, if you are a holiday home owner, or if you're wanting some great capital growth. Even if you're an investor with a long-term investment plan, then these properties will be for you. Just remember that you can give us a call, send us an email, let us know your priorities, and we will be happy to help you source your apartment. It's just really just trying to find that best apartment for your wish list, if it's available at the right price point at the market today. So we do specialize in brand new because we found that at least then all of our clients know that they're going to get a fantastic product once it's settled. It's brand new, so you don't have any of those older building issues. And it also means that you can make an allowance for ensuring that you've got your finance sorted in that 1.5 to 2 year period. Our first apartment building is called Lily at Broadbeach, and she is beautiful. So she's in a great location. Lily has 98 boutique apartments. There's only around 30 available at the moment. So most of the building, or 2/3 of the building, is already sold. It's a fantastic Broadbeach location. It's diagonally positioned next to Morella. It's a prime location in relation to new and upcoming releases. It's in a better position than a lot of the apartments that are going to be released in Broadbeach from now. So it's a great location. It has first-class residence amenities, including a private pool, spa, sauna, exclusive lobby that's very pretty. It has a residence penthouse private lounge, including a private entertainer's kitchen, casual lounge area, balconies with spectacular views, north, south, and east. and it also has private workstations all on level 29 on the penthouse level. So you get fantastic views from there. It's 2 minutes from the beach, the ocean, and the surf club, and it's 6 minutes stroll to the cafes, Pacific Fair, and Broad Beach. And here's our website if you would like to take a look at Lily specifically. We have all the details on our website. So it's stagepropertyanddevelopment.com/Lily. You can have a look there. You can contact us and we can match you up to an apartment in Lily. This is a bit of a summary of Lily. So we have a selection of 2 and 3 bedroom apartments. Level 26, 27, and 28 are sky homes. They're over $3.5 million each, and there's only 6 of those available. They have luxury interiors, including kitchens and bathrooms throughout. We have full-length floor-to-ceiling glass walls, allowing for the maximum light and the maximum views, which everybody wants. We have east and northern superior views, and we have 4 best apartments. So they are 703, 402, 2002, and 1801. I'm going to go through those for you now. So here is an interior render of what will be the southeast Sky Home apartment. This is a shot of the southern coastline of the Gold Coast. As you can see, it's a light neutral interior, very spacious. Lily's actually going to be a white exterior, so it means that we're going to capture the cleanest possible finish for Lily. Here's an example of the kitchen with the beautiful finishes. An example of the bedroom. Here's the bedroom with the joinery of the walk-in robe and the master ensuite. This is an example of a 2-bedroom kitchen finish. So this would be a 2-bedroom apartment. There is an upgrade for an integrated fridge. That is an upgrade. And then you can see the finish of the joinery as well. Again, this is a sky home. This is a northeast sky home this time. It's a 01 floor plan on level 26, 27, or 28. You can actually see, the curvature of the ocean horizon. So, I mean, you cannot get better locations than this. This is an example of an O2 style from level 12 to 25. So this would be 2002 style apartment where you have the living area overlooking the ocean, and that actually is a walk out onto the balcony space. And that gives you that indoor-outdoor living, and that is just superb design. So it's a good opportunity. Here we have the exclusive lobby. This is the entrance to Lily. This could be your new home. We do have a emphasis on the landscaping of the new apartments. It's definitely a focus for the builder developers now. We do want to see a lot of greenery in the new developments. You do have your own private pool, again, with the landscaping. We do have the cabana-style lounging areas, and we have barbecue, we have sauna and spa on this level as well. Now, this is the best part of Lily. It's the residence lounge on level 29. This is the residence lounge with the full entertainment kitchen. You've got your private dining area. You've got some casual high table seating. Here you have your dining area, and that overlooks the ocean horizon views from level 29. And they will never be built out in relation to this block where it is. So you can be secured that you will always have this residence lounge here to enjoy. Have some casual seating here, and you have these private workstations. On the other side of the private workstations is actually a meeting room for residents to book. This is the fantastic location of Lily. It's situated here, which is just opposite Nicofrides Park. It does have one development in front of it, but that development has been secured. 3 of the apartments in that development secured by this developer so that it will never be built out. So the east-facing apartments are facing the ocean, and as you can see here, very close to the ocean. You're very close to the best shopping precinct on the Gold Coast, which is Pacific Fair. Also the Star Entertainment Complex, which is a $2 billion Star Entertainment facility, and it's going to have 5 towers around that Star Casino. Now, on to my favorite pick of apartments that are available, and these are available today. I'm not saying they're available when you're watching this, but they are available the day that I'm recording, which is great. Apartment 703 is a 2-bedroom plus multi-purpose room. It is a 2-bathroom, 1-car park. Has east views. The total space is 108 meters squared. That's for $1.225 million. Or as we saw, the average of the Gold Coast apartments is around $18,250 per meter squared. This one's $11,342. So you can see what great value this is. We do have dimensional plans if you would like to go through those. And here is the eastern view of the pine trees, the Nicofrides Park, over to the ocean horizon. And that's from level 7, facing east. Our next apartment that we really love is a 2-bedroom plus media room. This one is actually the size of more like a 3-bedroom apartment because of the size of the media room. The multi-purpose or media room is actually the size of a bedroom. It's just that it has no internal light, so it can't be classed as a bedroom, and there is no fixed door on the room. So that means that it has to be classed as a multi-purpose room. Even though the size of it is quite large. This is 125 meters squared, and the price of this one on level 4 is $1.25 million. Again, we have dimensional plans, and here we have the views. So this is a view that is east ocean side from level 4. Obviously, level 4, you see the pine trees because the pines actually go up to around level 7, level 8. And then you see the ocean just behind that there. So it is interrupted ocean views. But, I mean, if you've got to be interrupted by something, why not have it a park and some pine trees? Here we have a beautiful view for nighttime viewing. This is going to be great in the evening because you do get to see the iconic jewel along the skyline of the Gold Coast here. This is a very iconic development that has been released this year. We also see view here, which is that circular glass building there. And then we see, you know, the older style apartments that are beachside here as well. But that's going to be a stunning view at nighttime. Our next apartment is apartment 2002. So this is a very high apartment. It's a 2-bedroom plus multi-purpose room, and the square meterage is 119. So again, it's a very large 2-bedroom plus study or a 2-bedroom plus multi-purpose room. It's basically the size of a 3-bedroom. You do have that very large multi-purpose room at the back of the apartment, and it is an internal room. So again, cannot be classified as a 3-bedroom, even though space-wise it definitely is. And we have dimensional floor plans as well, and we have an amazing view from level 20. So this is the 20th floor east ocean view, and you can see the curvature of the earth and the horizon of the ocean. So this is a fantastic opportunity to buy this apartment at $1.615 million. This one's priced at. Now we have apartment 1801. This is a larger apartment. It's a half-floor apartment. And this one is 3-bedroom plus multi-purpose room. It's basically the size of a 4-bedroom apartment. It's on level 18, so it's a perfect apartment level in the actual building itself. It's a 3-bedroom plus multi-purpose room, a 2-bathroom, and 2 cars. So 2 car spaces is a very big bonus on the Gold Coast at the moment. Every new apartment building with a 2-bedroom apartment is allocated 1 car park. This 3-bedroom apartment is allocated 2 car parks, which is great. It's north and northeastern views. Internally, it's 144 meters squared. So that's a very large, spacious apartment with a 21 square balcony facing east and north, and that's a total of 165 meters squared. That one's priced at 2.525. So if you're a buyer in that $2 to $3 million bracket, this apartment would be absolutely perfect for you. Whether you're going to live in permanently, or you want a holiday home, or you have an extended family that would like to use it, this is a great apartment, great position in the building, great views. Again, we do have the dimensional plans if you want to have a look at the sizes and the spacing. And here's the actual view from level 18. That's the eastern view of the ocean horizon. And then you also get this beautiful view of the north of the Gold Coast. Again, you get to see the Jewel, you get to see view, and you get to see all these beautiful apartments. You can even see the sand there on the beach from level 18. When you're looking north and northwest, this is going to be the view from the second bedroom on that apartment on 1801. You do still get to see all the way up the coastline here of the Gold Coast. So absolutely magnificent apartment if you're in that market for that $2.5 million budget. Now I wanted to talk to you a bit about Sienna. Sienna is investor stock only for the remaining apartments that we have. Sienna is a rent to build apartment building, and there are 4 towers in total. 2 of those towers have been built, Tower 3 and Tower 4. Tower 3 has been 100% rented out and occupied, and Tower 4 is now built and settling. So there's only around 10 apartments left out of about 200 apartments. 7 of those apartments have current rental tenants. So there's only a handful of apartments that are available if you're an owner-occupier, and prices start at around $731,000 for these. It does have residence amenities, which are great: 25-meter lap pool, gym. It has a dog park, so you are allowed to have pets in this property. It has a residence lounge, entertainment kitchen, lounge seating, a large flat screen TV, and it has a boutique ping pong table with 2 barbecue areas all on the ground level. On Tower 4, there is a sky deck on level 17, and that has 320-degree views of the Gold Coast. Location-wise, it's fantastic. It's 2 minutes to Bond University, one of the best universities in the world, and it's about 3 minutes to Robina Shopping Centre and 8 minutes drive to Burleigh, the most popular suburb on the Gold Coast. Also comes with a 5% developer's rental guarantee. Now, here we have the best Sienna apartments available today. Not saying that these are going to be available tomorrow, but please, if you're in the market for an investment property and you want something that's already rented, give me a call about these properties, because these are actually available today. So we have apartment 31002, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1 car. It has southwest views, but it is already tenanted, and that is fantastic. It's already got a tenant in there, and it's got the 5% developer's rental guarantee as well. Here we can see a master plan of the towers. We can see Tower 3, Tower 4 are already built, and then we're going to be starting on Tower 1 and Tower 2 in the next 4 months, depending. We're pricing that up at the moment. And what I've been advised is that Tower 1 and Tower 2 are going to be a price point of around $150,000 to $200,000 more per apartment. So literally, if you buy into Tower 3 or Tower 4 right at this moment, you will be picking up that capital growth when the new apartments are released, because they're going to be worth around $150,000 to $200,000 more on purchase, and that is going to drive up the prices for the existing stock. So the existing apartments are going to benefit from the new price releases of the new property in around 4 months. So if you are an investor and you are looking for an investment that already has rental income, this is going to make your lenders very happy, because there's already rental leases in place. Sometimes they're up to 12 months. It just depends on which apartment. So depending on your budget, give me a call and I will be happy to help you get that investment property sorted. This is an example of what the pool looks like. It's very close to reality. We do have our website for Sienna as well. So if you go to our website, stagepropertyanddevelopment.com/Sienna, then you will definitely see all of the real shots of Sienna. And I have popped some videos up on there for you as well. So this is the residence lounge, the entry, and this is what the master plan looks like. Here's an example of a close-up of the kitchen finishes, and here is the rooftop. So the rooftop barbecue entertainment areas, again, views 320-degree views of the Gold Coast, which is fantastic. Now, we do have other properties that are currently listed. There are too many to go through, so I'm not going to bore you with all those details or excite you or inspire you, but I have to say that we do have a lot of property and a lot of beautiful properties available for our clients as well. And we love to match you to the perfect property. So just give us a call or send us an email. Send us a text message and we will be able to help you secure the best property for you. We do love a physical challenge as well. So if you let us know what you're looking for, we just might be able to find that for you. Now, if you are buying off the plan, and we do have a lot of off the plan, simply for the fact that, as I've already mentioned time and again, we are not building as fast as the demand. So that means a lot of the property is off the plan because everything that was built during COVID got bought by new owners, and all those new owners wanted to live in those properties during COVID and just after COVID. So now everything is off the plan. So with off the plan, you have to pay a deposit of around $5,000 generally. If it's a higher property value, it might be $10,000, or if it's a very luxurious property, it might be 10% to 20% of the actual contract value. And then you have to pay a 10% to 20% balance on contract. Generally speaking, it's generally 10% on contract. So we work with you to make sure that that's available. When you sign your contract, you can pay that and go unconditional. At that point, it means that the property is being built for you. And step 3 is you pay 90% of that contract balance or the balance owing on settlement, which could be up to 2 years. And we will work with you on, what are the dates that the developments are planning on completing. So our current opportunities, which you may not know that we represent, but we do, we're focused at the moment on a property called Alto, which is on Garfield Terrace. It's absolute beachfront, and we do have some 2 bedrooms at 2.4, and then we have some 3 bedrooms at 5.4. So the pricing does change. So depending on what it is that you're looking for, we could secure one of those for you. Lily, as I mentioned, one of my favorite projects, if not my favorite project on the Gold Coast right now, just because of the quality of the development, the location, the price, the finishes, and the views. So I think that everybody who buys into Lily is going to be very, very happy. So I'm looking forward to making sure that my clients do get into Lily. We have V&A, which is Victorian Albert. It's a $700 to $1 billion project in the heart of Broadbeach. There are going to be a lot of short-term accommodation lets in Victoria. So there are 2 buildings, Victoria and Building Albert. There are going to be a lot of short-term lets in Victoria. So they're around the $1 million mark. So if you do have around $1 million and you're wanting an investment property, then that's a pretty good chance that I would recommend you go into that. We do have Oakey Bay, which is based in Coomera. Again, another investor stock. Great location in relation to access to shops and good capital growth in these regions, especially good because of the price point, and it's settling in a few months. So we only have 2 apartments left there. There might be another 2 that have come back, but definitely 2 apartments that have good views as well. So I would definitely be recommending those to investors. We do have some Grayer stock. So anybody who knows of the developer called Grayer, very exclusive, very good product. If you are wanting something from Grayer, either in New Farm or in Palm Beach, please let me know and we'll put in an EOI for you. We do have an upcoming project in Broadbeach that's going to be 185 apartments. It's going to be quite close to Lily, and that project is going to do really, really well as well because of the developer who's from the ACT. We have an upcoming Burleigh project, more boutique and a higher price point than Broadbeach. So you just have to be aware Burleigh is a higher price point all round. Then we have an exclusive relisting investment product. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom in the Star. And that one's a relisting at the moment. So if you're looking for a current investment, that's a great investment. And as a buyer's agency, you just let us know what you want and give us your parameters, your preferences, and we can see how we can help you secure that today. And we say today for a very specific reason, that if you want to win, you've got to take action. If you want to win, that action has got to be today. So we also have stock in Brisbane, Sunshine Coast, depending on what it is that you're looking for. We do have some ARIA resales, ARIA award-winning company that we absolutely adore working with. Great developments, great locations, fantastic designs. And then we do have some more mosaic apartments up on the Sunshine Coast and in Brisbane as well. Now, anybody who knows me knows that I've probably told you or talked to you about our luxury product. So our luxury beachfront and our penthouse collections, we do have a number of really fantastic beachfront and penthouses available. So we have Alto, they're 2-bedroom apartments from 2.4 million. We have 3 bedrooms from 5.4 million. We have our glass house project at Burleigh, which apartment 1 is $12 million and apartment 2 is $14 million. We have the Victorian Albert penthouse that's available on level 39, and that one's priced at $18 million. We have Greyer product that has yet to come to market, and it's priced on application. So if you do want some Greyer product, let me know. And then we have our Coast penthouse. It's 2 levels. It's approximately 1,141 meters squared. That one's currently being built at the moment. It is the most fantastic penthouse that I have on my books. It's going to be priced on application, but at the moment, the guide price is around 35 million Australian dollars. Let me know if you want any of those. So in relation to property, now we're at the property ready check. So are you ready for your next property? And what do you need to consider? When you're thinking about property profit, you need to think about the rental income, the serviceability, and your timing is everything. So just think about those points. And when you're preparing to invest, have a look at your finances and know your financial stage. Choose your investment wisely, identify your investment priorities, and define your property criteria, and we will work with you. So who do we work with? We work with some experts who are reliable, trustworthy, and they're always available considering I'm a workaholic. So they will always pick up the phone for me. We have our wonderful finance mortgage broker called Peter Cook. Now, he's got 30 years experience and he does for my clients what other brokers cannot do. And we also have a wonderful conveyancing solicitor called Christopher Cameron. Now, they do give my clients, also as their own clients, VIP treatment. You do get the reliability and the trustworthiness of working with someone that we've worked with for years very well. And we definitely recommend using our partners in relation to organizing your finance. Now, on your investment roadmap, make sure that you do your research and analysis, your financial preparation, and then your property selection. Working with Stage Property, we actually help you every single step of this way. So we take out a lot of this so that you are confident in knowing that your property is going to be a great property for you. It's going to be a great property for your property portfolio. And you also understand, given all the information I've just relayed to you, that it's a really good decision to buy a Gold Coast apartment in this market right now, and definitely an apartment and a property that's going to be delivered in this market. So they're all of the different aspects of every project that we take on, that we do the analysis on, and we give you only the selections that we know will actually be delivered. So just so you know, if you're new to property investing and you are wanting to build your portfolio, these are the biggest mistakes that you need to avoid. So you need to make sure that you do your research. So failing to research is an area where people are not educated and they don't do their research, and then they go and make a decision that may have been better if they had have had someone like Stage Property help them along the way. If you decide impulsively, now being impulsive, I believe, is not a bad thing because you want to follow your gut, but literally you need a really good team around you, and you need to be able to rely on their information, and you need to be able to know that they're trustworthy. So really what you need is a team like Stage Property around you to be able to give you the information you need. And we're very transparent about what projects we take on and why. And then we are very transparent about what projects that customers or clients should steer away from as well. So not only do we help you make a great decision, we make sure that you don't make a wrong decision or a bad decision. So we focus on the great decisions with Stage Property, and we only put our clients into something we would invest in ourselves. And considering I've been a developer myself, I definitely understand the process more than most agents. So I'm only ever going to look at something as a great investment or not. So it's very important to us that we get the projects right before we actually even present them to you. So again, the other thing that you need to avoid is mismanaging the cash flow, because with off the plan, you do have a very large timeline in relation to the cash flow. So 1.5 to 2 years is basically the time from when you would put down your 10% to the time that the project's going to settle on average. And that gives you time to manage your cash flow. So that is a focus that you will need to be aware of, and know those deadlines of when the properties are going to be settling. Self-managing is another mistake to avoid, instead of hiring the experts. So experts have about 10,000 hours of experience, and I would definitely say that I definitely have that. And I can probably be a little bit more diverse than most agents, simply because I did have my own development company, and I do understand construction a lot better than most agents. So especially design elements, lifestyle elements, and the way construction flows, management of teams on site, all of that. So literally, I feel that you need to be able to benefit from that expertise. And when it's not something that you do all day, every day, you need someone like Stage Property and Development who are focused and concentrated on making sure that you make the best decision for your property portfolio or for your lifestyle, whichever it is that you're wanting to focus on. We can certainly help you with that. Again, remembering there is a huge demand for property on the Gold Coast, especially the beachside suburbs. 1,840 new residents relocating per annum. That's a lot of new property, especially when you think about a boutique apartment building like Lily. That's only 100 apartments, well, less than 100 apartments per development. So that really is a lot of accommodation that we're going to have to be allowing for per year. And this isn't just an anomaly. This is going to be happening for at least the next 20 years. So if you can secure your property today at this market rate, then you are definitely going to do well every year from now. Again, just reiterating, CBRE said we need 550,000 new apartments across Australia in the next 3 years. We're only delivering 55,000 of those. So we have a gap of 500,000 apartments. That is a significant number of apartments that we just don't have. Here we have some testimonials from some of our clients. I thought that you would like to read some of these, but just quickly, this is Arisha. She's an investor. She's going to be an owner-occupier. She's bought multiple properties from us. She says, I met Claire by chance after having spent a huge amount of time looking at properties and meeting different sales teams. Within 48 hours, Claire had found us not one, but two of our dream properties. She worked around the clock, leveraged her incredible, valuable network, and bought us two options that were so good we had to buy both. I have now recommended Clare to numerous friends and family, all of whom are thrilled to be working with Clare. As icing on the cake, she's an absolute joy to work with. We set goals which were somewhat unrealistic in the current market, and she rose to the challenge and went beyond delivering. Claire is second to none. So thrilled. Thank you, Claire. So, yes, that was a very intense time when Arisha gave me a very stringent kind of wish list. And we went out and actually found her not one but two of the most perfect properties for her. So that's fantastic. We have a testimonial from Stephen. So Stephen's an owner occupier and he's a short-term accommodation investor. He does specialize in managing his own Airbnbs. He says, knowledgeable, helpful, pleasant, and in tune with what's needed to make informed decisions for my needs. So just in relation to Stephen, give you a bit of background. He had been researching for 8 months before he would make a decision. He said he was so glad that he met me because we actually secured something in 4 days. So I helped him make that decision. I helped him make a great decision, and he's made around $100,000 capital growth in 8 months. So he's done really, really well. So had he have met me 8 months prior, he probably would have doubled that return on investment. But he's very happy with his purchase that he made through Stage Property. We have Barry and Tina. They're very happy and excited about your new purchase. Claire was very professional, friendly, and her knowledge of her work is outstanding. So they really did appreciate me going to the effort of helping them purchase their apartment. They had looked at a few apartments before they actually did meet with me, even though we had scheduled prior, and they saw those apartments by themselves. They decided to buy with me because I actually did present them with the best option that they had. We had secured a lower apartment a lower apartment in the building, and then after discussions, we changed that deposit to a higher apartment in that building. So they're very thrilled to be able to have that building as an investment and also have the option to move in it should they want to once it's built. Here is a testimonial from Chloe. She's potentially relocating, owner occupier. I highly recommend Claire from Stage Property and Development. She was an absolute superstar. She found us our dream property and handled everything. She was always contactable, extremely helpful throughout the process. Thank you, Claire. You're amazing. So that's a really lovely accolade of another Sydney client. Here we have King and Craig from Victoria, their owner occupiers. Thank you for finding us our first Gold Coast apartment as well as our beachfront off-market apartment. Let us know when you're developing. So they're very happy. I actually saw them when they came to the Gold Coast recently for holidays and showed them the locations that they actually bought. They actually bought even though they're in Victoria and hadn't seen the sites. So when you're investing and when you're buying the properties, what you need to do is you really need to have your priorities sorted, and then we will give you the selection. We then go through the process of securing your property. We then help you with the contract and the 10 to 20% deposit, whatever is required by the developers. And then we go all the way through to settlement and handover with you. So we make that process really simple and easy for you. We make it enjoyable so that it doesn't have to be stressful. Buying property can be extremely stressful, as everybody knows. So we want to make it really fun, really enjoyable experience. And we want to make sure that you make the best decision for your investment and your lifestyle. So at the moment, our team is a very boutique little team. We have myself as the principal agent. I do like keeping it boutique because I give such high service, but I will be building the team and I will be bringing on new agents. It's just that we have a very high quality expectation. So finding those recruits is a challenge. Just like a good property, you have to know what you're looking for, and then when you find it, then you invest in it. So it is myself at the moment being the principal agent. And then we have a younger recruit by the name of Adam James. Now, everyone who is going to be working with Adam is going to be super thrilled because he does have a trade background and his ability to read floor plans is beyond exceptional. He's a great younger guy who is very enthusiastic, and he is learning how to rate a knots by being around and working with me. So I'm very thrilled to be able to bring Adam onto the team. and I'm sure he's going to do really, really, really well, and he's going to be able to help you with your property selection and your property, purchase as well. So looking forward to people working with Adam as well. So please, let's get social. And anybody who knows me knows I'm social too. So I love getting social. I haven't had time to post a lot on social media recently, but it is something that I'm going to be doing more of. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, whichever one you want to call it, YouTube, LinkedIn, and we love Google reviews. So we are actually on all those platforms. You can go onto there. We will be posting more frequently. And if you do want any information on any projects that are digital or available, please feel free to give us a call and we will let you know what our inside track information is on that property, or we will be happy to help you secure your next property. Now, if you found any of this information valuable and you would like to help us, we would absolutely appreciate a 5-star Google review. Now, we do work for these Google reviews and we work quite hard to get these. I mean, it's not every day that you get somebody recommending you, but we do absolutely appreciate the time that it takes for our clients to give us a 5-star Google review. We haven't been as proactive to get them as we probably could be, because we do have a lot more clients than reviews. But if you have found anything of interest, anything that's valuable that I've given you any information on, I would absolutely appreciate a Google review. So the way you do a Google review is very simple. There are 5 simple steps. You sign into your Google account. You have to do this because you have to have your own Google account to be able to give a Google review. You type into Google stage property and development, and then what's going to come up is the profile that we have for the business, which is stage property and development, and it looks like this screenshot to the right of the page. Now you can see that we have 34 Google reviews. So what you do is you click onto those 34 Google reviews, and on the right hand side of the page it will say write a Google review. You can then highlight the stars so they turn yellow, and then you can write your own Google review. You can also upload photos like some of my clients have, but just be honest and let us know what you really thought of the information I've given you here today. Hopefully it's given you confidence, it's given you information, it's given you education, and it helps you make a really good decision. And I would really appreciate it if you wanted to work with stage property and development. We do enjoy working with new clients. We have a great rapport with all of our clients, and we look forward to you becoming our next new client. Now, here are some of our current Google reviews. This is what a Google review looks like. You can click on view all Google reviews here. Professionalism and empathy are hallmarks of the service. Excellent customer service. You can see here, there's the review that I read out before. But if you're going to give us a Google review, all you need to do is click on this blue button at the right-hand top of the screen. When you go onto the reviews, it says write a review. Then you have to sign into your Google account and write the review. It literally takes about 5 minutes, if that. I mean, literally, guys, we would love to hear from you. That's a sign-in page for a Google review, and that's what it looks like if you're signed into a Google account, so your own Google account, and then you can publicly post, and then you can highlight the stars so they turn yellow. You can write in your review there, and you can add photos. It's as simple as that, and we would absolutely appreciate your 5-star Google review. Now, with questions, this is when we want to hear from you. If we are on the live chat, please write your questions below. Please let me know if you're in the market to buy right now, what your budget and your preferences are, and your contact details, and we will definitely be able to contact you straight away to help you with that. With the questions, these are frequently asked questions that I could think of. How much do I have to put down as a deposit for an off the plan? That's a yet to be built apartment or property. Generally, apartments are $5,000, and then the balance to 10%. The final balance of 90% is due on settlement. The finance is arranged upon title registration with the council, which is around 4 to 6 weeks from settlement, and that's to allow your lender to do valuations. Why do you focus on the Gold Coast, Brisbane, the Sunshine Coast? I say that these areas are all increasing in population, demand, and value. So they're all great investments, and we find you lovely properties to live in or to invest in. Either way, great capital growth. Do you prefer apartments or house and land? Well, my total personal preference is apartments in these areas due to the population increase and the limited land availability. So, it's much more convenient to buy one block of land and build 100 apartments as opposed to building 100 house and land. How do you help us if we want to get started today? So Stage Property team will match you to the perfect property that's available to you today. Now, you have to remember, property is sold every day. And when an agent says to you, especially from my team, myself or Adam, when we say to you, you need to secure this today, it's because you actually do need to secure it today because we don't know if it's going to be on the market tomorrow. Most apartment buildings have several agents representing them. So, if it's not us selling you the property, another agent will go and sell that just purely based on the demand and the number of inquiries of buyers. So when we say you need to secure it today, that means you need to place your deposit today to take it off the market, and we will help you go to contract and purchase your property. Yeah, we will help you complete the EOI deposit forms to ensure they're correct. We will let you know what you need to do as the next step. We actually make it really rather enjoyable if you haven't been through the process before, and we make it super easy if you have. So we will work with your finance broker and your conveyancing solicitor, or we love to work with ours because we do know how they work. We know that they will contact us immediately if we have a question. Had a situation where a client had some very large interpretation issues with their contract. My conveyancing solicitor made them very simple in 4 minutes, and then we got the contracts executed. So, there are those issues when you have different conveyancing solicitors or different finance brokers that maybe don't understand the process. We actually work with you until we get the contracts fully executed. That means both parties sign and you go unconditional, and then we work with you up until settlement. So it really is a long process from now, with the off the plans being, like Lily's going to be finished in Q4 of 2025. So that's 2.5 years away yet, because they're building Morella. So it really does depend on what the project is as to what the timeline is, but we're with you every step of the way. Why do you like to use your own finance and conveyancing solicitors team? As I mentioned, they always pick up the phone when I call. So I might be a bit of a hard taskmaster. Why do you focus on the Gold Coast, Brisbane, Sunshine Coast? As I mentioned, great investments, lovely properties. And do you prefer apartments to house and land? Yes, definitely I do. How do I get started today? So we will match you. You need to give us a call on 0458 407 976, or you can email me here at my email address, clare@stagepropertyanddevelopment.com, or the team invest at stagepropertyanddevelopment.com, and we will certainly help you. Email is great, but calling or texting is fantastic because I might be on site, I might be with clients, or I might be driving. So it really is best to text. How do you choose your properties? So we go through all of the due diligence, and we actually have a rapport with many of the developers already, being in property and on all kinds of aspects of property for the last 20 years. We do know a lot of people in the industry already. So we do harness those relationships, and we harness those relationships to get the best properties for you. So anyone wanting to contact me, here are my contact details again. I'm going to be your favorite and only agent. Here is our website, stagepropertyanddevelopment.com, and I'll just give you our telephone number. It is 0458 407 976. Best to text me directly because then I can respond immediately as well. I'd like to thank you all so much for joining me for the first Inside Track, and we look forward to bringing you more of these. We're going to do a specialty on luxury property, and we're also going to do a specialty on penthouses. So if you do love learning about about property and you love looking at gorgeous property, then watch out for those. And please do join us for our next Inside Track. It's been a pleasure to give you this information. I hope you've learned something out of it. I hope that it's created some value for you. I hope that you can act confidently. And I hope that if you are looking to buy, you're going to contact us and give me a text, give me an email, and we will be delighted to help you.